going into the Torah, we go into the Zohar Kadosh in Parashat Tazria, page 51a. Here, the Zohar teaches about what happened with Gechazi. Gechazi was the servant, the Gabai of Elisha HaNavi, who lied and desecrated the name of God in such a big way that the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin, page 90a, says that he lost his share of the world to come. The short version of the story is, aside from all of the other sins that Gechazi did, whether it was immorality or withholding Torah students from learning Torah, or lying and false vows, the biggest thing was the fact that he lied to his rabbi, to Elisha HaNavi, when Naaman, the general of the army of Aram, who had Tzaraat, the famous biblical disease that there's still a hospital in Yerushalayim for people that have Tzaraat, as it's incurable with anything, with any medicine of this world. It's a spiritual disease that also has physical implications. And when Naaman came with Tzaraat and was cured miraculously by following the guidance of Elisha HaNavi, by going and dipping into the Jordan River, this of course was a big Chiddush HaShem. This was completely miraculous. It had nothing to do with the water. It had to do with him humbling himself and listening to the Torah, to the opinion of the Torah. After this, Naaman wanted to convert to Judaism and wanted to convince his entire nation to convert to Judaism. And that's what he was planning to do. After getting cured, he also wanted to give an enormous amount of money and anything else that Elisha would ask for. But Elisha rejected everything, saying to him that he's not looking for money, power, or anything else. He's happy that he was able to help him and to sanctify God's name, and that's it. He wanted nothing in return. Naaman was so happy about this that he was ready to convert himself and his entire nation to Judaism. But Gechazi, the servant of Elisha, chased after Naaman and asked him for money, clothing, and all types of things in the name of Elisha, saying that Elisha was, too humble to ask directly, but surely he would need something from you. He is requesting, and he sent me. And when Elisha found this out, he cursed Gechazi with a curse that lasts until this day. As the verse in the book of Kings 2, chapter 5, verse 27 says, Tzaraat Naaman, tidabek becha v'zaracha leolam, that the tzaraat of Naaman will cleave onto you and your descendants forever. That's the background of the Zohar. Why did he curse him that way? Because he made Chilul HaShem. After this, Naaman, although still impressed by Elisha the Prophet, he no longer wanted to convert. He decided to become a righteous Noahide, which means that Gechazi stopped not just one person and his family from converting to Judaism, but an entire people, millions of people, from converting to Judaism, from becoming Torah scholars, from becoming something that sanctifies HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name, unlike anything else. And therefore Elisha cursed Gechazi with this horrible curse, and the Torah says that Gechazi on the spot became white, and his children also had Tzaraat. All of them at Tzaraat. In fact, any of his descendants that are still alive today would still have Tzaraat. As Rabbi Ephraim said today, I'm sure that if any of Gechazi's descendants are alive today, they're in that hospital in Yerushalayim, have Tzaraat. Why? This was a curse that has no end in this world. So the Zohar asks in the name of Rabbi Yehuda, who asks Rabbi Yitzchak the question that you're probably asking. We understand that Gechazi did something terrible. But why curse his kids? What did they do? Why were Gechazi's children cursed too? Says Rabbi Yitzchak, Elisha the Prophet saw a level of prophecy unlike any other in his generation. He saw prophecy beyond the norm, let's see if there is a norm in prophecy. And he was able to see all of the descendants that would come out of Gechazi until the end of times, and he confirmed that not a single descendant of Gechazi would ever be a righteous person. And it's therefore better that these descendants have Tzaraat. Why? Rabbi Ephraim gave a perfect explanation for this. He said in one of the videos, it was live, like we have usually on TikTok and Facebook, there's always a couple of terrorists there that are spiritual terrorists, but once in a while there's literally real life terrorists, especially since October 7th. So these Muslims come and they curse and they promise they're going to kill people and they do all types of things. And in one of his lectures, there was somebody like this that was making awful remarks, threats. And one of the Jewish people that was listening made a comment also, why don't you block him? Why don't you block this terrorist? And Rabbi Ephraim in his extraordinary wisdom says, why should I block him? Why should I block him? I don't care about what he says about me and the cursing and the insult and so on. In fact, I'm happy that he's here. Why? Because if he's here busy cursing me on the internet and being a terrorist on the internet, at least he's not a terrorist in the street killing our people. It's better he's here than being on the streets joining Hamas or working for Hamas as he has his whole life since he was 5 years old. It's better. Same concept here. Elisha HaNavi saw the descendants of Gechazi and saw that not a single one of them will be righteous. In fact, they're all going to be problematic people. And therefore, he said it's better that they have Tzaraat, and therefore, because of Tzaraat, they are not part of society. Not part of the Jewish society. They're in outside of the camp. They're in special hospitals and so on. Furthermore, Elisha said to Gechazi, I was rewarded a double reward as I requested from Eliyahu HaNavi to give me double the amount of miracles that he was able to perform. And I was rewarded that. Why? Because I was a servant of Eliyahu HaNavi, and I did my job with full honesty and sacrifice. But you, Rasha, Gechazi, you hurt me because you lied to me and served dishonestly, making false vows. And therefore, you'll be punished severely in this world with this Tzaraat and his descendants having Tzaraat, in order for you to eventually have Olam HaBa. Why? Because even though he served them with lies, there were parts of his servitude that were good. that actually helped Elisha study Torah, that helped Elisha serve Hashem. That part of the servitude, let it not go to waste. We'll use that to give you an entrance to Olam HaBa. But that means you'll have to get an enormous punishment first. First, you should know that this actually conflicts with the opinion in the Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin that says that Gechazi does not have a share of the world to come. Or at least, the intent of Elisha would conflict with what the sages said of Gechazi even having a share of the world to come. They say he doesn't. Of course, we always go with the Gemara, but the point being is we see the intentions of the righteous Elisha, even though Gechazi was wicked and evil, he still had mercy on this person without changing the Torah. Rather by saying, you deserve an extraordinary punishment for making a false vow. The Torah says somebody makes a false vow, loses Olam HaBa. But in order to get that, in order to get that Olam HaBa back and have a chance of getting Olam HaBa back, you'll have to suffer an extraordinary suffering in this world. And of course, Gehenom, Kafakela, all the other stuff, but eventually still have a ticket to Olam HaBa that will ultimately allow you in whenever that sentence is over. So instead of it never ending, the punishment never ending. So we see still, without changing the Torah, you can still show mercy. There is a punishment necessary, but there's still mercy at the end. We are meant to be a light unto the nations, not to follow their misguided practices. Remember, every Jew has to remember that he's a Jew and she's a Jew. We don't celebrate non-Jewish holidays, even if they seem harmless. It's a zilzul, disrespect to the Torah, and could lead to Chilul HaShem, desecration of God's name. Stick to our holy Torah and our own holidays. That's the path of a true Jew.